button. So here we are. We're live. So welcome to Domain to Profit. I am Drew Wash, and today I'm going to announce or let you in on this little secret right here. What domain did I buy last week for $104,000? That will be something that I share later on. So let me make sure that I have things finished. Okay. So I'll be sharing that out, as well as we will be looking at this week's expired domains, because, just in case this isn't enough, in case spending $104,000 isn't enough, maybe we want to buy some other stuff. That's always an option. So welcome to Domain to Profit. Say hi in the chat. Let me know who all's here. We're going to get going.
From domain to profit, from a dot-com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Okay. Well, hopefully everything's going out okay. I had tech issues just before this and managed to hopefully get things going correctly. We'll find out. We're going to like right now, for example, chat looks like this. Yeah, I don't know if that, but yeah. Okay, so I may not be able to see your comments. There we go. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Dave. Here we go. I was a little nervous there, like nothing was popping through, and I was thinking that I was here alone. So, hey, Lee, I know you've made some guesses. Look forward to sharing with you what my aunt does. There we go. I wish I could share out your tweet because that's good stuff. And then we got Dave. Thanks. And then Coaster G, nice new username there, Chaz. Nice to have everybody with us. So, last week I posted a Twitter tweet. I tweeted about being looking to buy some domain names. In fact, let me see if I can just pull that up real quick. So I was looking for very specific criteria. At least in my opinion, it was pretty specific. I was looking for, I want to pull it up because that's my preference, is to show, not tell. So here it is here. This tweet here went out last week and open to buying domains that meet this criteria. Same things we talk about here all the time. .com, it's the main domain name, especially for development, because we're looking to buy domains that have authority, that have that validate the companies that appear on that domain name. 1 to 2 words. I want to try to keep it precise. And then we're looking to describe a local business, local industry. For example, duct cleaners, auto transporter, towing, cleaners. We're looking for 4 to 6 figures. So we're looking to spend some money on domains. That's how we ended up right here with the random envelope, which I will reveal what's in here in just one moment. But before I do, because I got to keep you on the edge, here we go. Let me open it a little bit. So what led to this was, as you could see on the tweet, was a firestorm of, I believe it was 108 comments, many retweets, many messages. And really, for the most part, I wasn't feeling much as far as we weren't getting much quality. So we did see some were just quality domains. They weren't necessarily in our wheelhouse being specifically local companies, local industry-specific domain names, like the examples we gave. So if I didn't get back to you and you know that you have a good domain, keep it up. Now, some of these domains, I'm just too much of a positive person to want to beat up on those who sent in the trash domains. Watch this show more often, because for the love of goodness, I'm not even sure why some of the domains that were passed on to me were even registered, let alone some of the prices that people were looking for them. Yeah, I'm looking at you, One Domains. $9 million for some random butt word. I was like, is that US dollars? Is like, what currency is this that you're looking for 9 million of something for a domain name that I wouldn't pay $10 for? Okay, anyhow. So I want to jump right into sharing this domain because we're going to be talking about what's in the envelope. What's in the envelope? Okay. Well, in case you don't know about me, let me just tell you a little bit about me while I show off the envelope. And my name is Drew Wash. I develop domain names. So I've done things like towing.com, movingcompany.com, DJs.com. Some are successful, some are not. Some need to be redone, some do not. But most importantly are the lessons that we have spent our time learning about taking domain names and developing them. And we've learned so freaking much over the last couple of years that we have major things coming in the fall. Major things as far as tools that will allow us to quickly develop domain names, apply our business model to other domain names. And here's kind of the secret, though. We're actually going to prepare those tools in a way that will allow you to also develop your domain names similar to how we do it. So you can continue to be a domainer without actually becoming a developer. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. This fall, we have some cool stuff coming. So that business model, all that we've learned is what led to this purchase here. So I will tell you that I don't know if I made a good decision. And I need to know, I'm curious to know if you think we paid too much. So here it is. The domain we purchased, doggroomers.com. Doggroomers.com is the domain name we purchased for $104,000. We actually purchased it from a major domain owner, and blogger, which is Elliot Silver, who you may all know from Domain Investing, the blog that he has out there. So Elliot Silver is the one that sold it. And if you look at the domains that were responded to on our Twitter feed, you would have quickly seen that the 4 domains that he sent were of a much higher caliber domain than the other ones. Now, whether or not paying $104,000 for doggroomers.com was a good decision, I don't know. Let's find out. Like I have to admit that when I saw the domain name, I thought that it was only going to be half that, and had the discussion that I have with the missus about the domain, and she's like, "Oh, that's perfect for our business model. We need to get it." And one thing led to another. We got the discussion going, and we went through 5 figures and ended up at the 6-figure mark, which for many great domains, that's kind of where things end up. So there's 2 different things that I want to just talk about briefly, which is, one, is a domain worth $104,000? And then the other one is the domain worth $104,000 to me right now? And I will tell you that the answer to that second question, is the domain worth $104,000 to me right now? To that one, I have to say that over the weekend, after the money's already been wired, I would say no. I think in general, I probably had made a bit of a bad decision as far as jumping into purchasing this domain name at the price that we paid. I kind of woke up with a little bit of buyer's remorse. So why did I have buyer's remorse? Why did I kind of wake up thinking, I paid too much? So I'm kind of curious, who all out there thinks I paid too much? What do you think it was worth? What do you think I should have paid for it? So the reason why I think I paid too much was primarily because of opportunity costs of that money. If I was to take $100,000 and spread it over other domains that are available that I could have found, I realistically could have found domains that added up to more value than what I get from that one domain name. So that is one of the key aspects of major purchases is, and for all those who are looking to sell domains, you have to realize even if your domain name is worth $100,000, the question is it worth $100,000 compared to all the other domains that are available in the existing market? And that last part is what I really missed out on. I did not take into consideration all the other domains that I really should have been looking at realistically because of that tweet, because I tweeted something out and I'm kind of like, I want to buy some domains, and all the domains that I was getting they really discouraged me. I was just feeling like, wow, I really wasted a lot of time. I'm not really seeing domains I wanted to purchase. And I was super I was eager to make a domain purchase. We had we cleared out our domain line of credit, the amount of, the bulk of what we had to make purchases and stuff. And we're kind of like, let's start to get some more investments going. And realistically, ended up making a mistake in that process. So, however, is doggroomers.com, is it worth the price that we paid? Is it worth $104,000? Well, I will show you how we're going to develop it, give you some broad strokes of what we're going to do, and why the math definitely adds up to being well worth over $100,000. And I hope that by the end of this, you will agree that both a six-figure domain name makes sense if it kind of meets the criteria that we set. So hopefully that sounds exciting. Before we talk about the dollars and cents, so I want to do what we do every single week here. We're going to go and look at expired domain names that are expiring this week, domains that are available this week that you can buy at auction. So the previous owner has let the domain name expire for some reason. And in some cases, these are amazing domain names that are going to be available at auction. So as a domain investor, or possibly just an entrepreneur or somebody that's looking for a new startup idea, these domains are an amazing place to start looking for ideas, looking for business opportunities. So we are going to go over to my handy dandy tool. It's not actually my tool. It is expireddomains.net. This is the tool that we use to look over domain expiring this week. And expireddomains.net is a free tool, so there's no cost to you to use it. When you click the links, you are sharing some of, basically you're paying a commission to them, but it's not out of your pocket. GoDaddy pays an affiliate price to them. So click the links, support this site. It's a well-known, well-established tool that many of us use and that I highly recommend you use. I'm always looking for a better tool, but realistically, none out there. So I'm going to set up my filters. We're going to run through these real quick. No numbers, no hyphens. We want English, 1 to 3 words. And we are going to look over the next 7 days because we're only looking at this week's domains. Come back next Monday and we'll go over next week's as well. And what we will do is pull up, and I also added in the .com only because we're only looking for .coms. .coms are the most authoritative extension. We look for authority, we look for validation as part of what we're looking for here. And then we're going to organize those by default. We are looking at GoDaddy's expired domains. So you'll see here, GD expired, GoDaddy expired. There's less than 100,000 domains this week, which is unusual. Usually there's over 100,000. Now that's just, we filtered out a lot of the domains already. So I am ordering them by the GoDaddy valuation, which is their valuation, not necessarily what it is worth to anybody else, but it gives us a starting point that we can order it by. So what we will do is during the show, as you may be familiar with, many of you are, we can look down through here and we look for domains. We talked about companyinfo.com last week. That is why it is starred, and that one will be ending over the next hour or so. I believe I have a bid on that, actually. Don't know if I'll participate. It's already up over 4 figures. Open share, protect your assets. So as we're looking through domain names, the question is what do you think? Did we spend too much? Do you agree that in the existing market, 104 was too much to spend on a 2-word keyword domain name? Do you agree that that was too much, or do you think, whoa, that's a good deal? I'm kind of curious if anybody actually thinks that it's a good deal. So let me just click over on the chat a little bit. Jason saying hi, Kashif, Rahul, and then Ken saying 1.2 million Google searches for dog groomers. And that is, I'm going to share some keyword data about the domain name here in a little bit, which is, yes, that's a big thing. That's much of why we ended up like really losing our mind over it. And then, oh, wow, here we go. Slovakia, that I think it's a first for us. We'll have to put a little pin on our map, making sure that we have noticed that we had Martin from Slovakia. Thanks for joining us all the way over here. Ken was estimating that doggroomers.com, the domain that we purchased for $104,000, is mid 5 figures. And I agree that I will say that the opening offer that we made, we were going to start off with about $40,000, but we ended up starting with $68,000 was our opening offer, because I prefer to not. I hate negotiations. I prefer to put out there what I actually want to spend on something and move. Now the only thing is the typical games that I would play when I'm in negotiations. So by games, like how I price things, how I go through my negotiation process. I didn't try that on Elliot. Like, I didn't try the normal tricks of the trade when I was dealing with Elliot. Dude's a pro. He deals with this stuff day in, day out, has an amazing portfolio, deals with a lot of buyers, sellers. So who am I to come in and play the, not to mention we both know each other professionally. How can I come in there and try to play games? I'm not going to do that to another pro. I'm guessing my pride gets in the way in some cases. I probably just need to do what I need to do. I'm rather confident that he knows that he got paid top dollar for that domain. I don't know, but isn't that how it's supposed to work, right? Like, I feel it was a stretch. He feels it was good. Well, nobody should be a winner. By the end of the show, hopefully you can see why 104,000 is still well worth it. So I'm still running down through the chat here. And so I just shared the domain name that we had was doggroomers.com, the plural, dog groomers, which to answer the mystery that I posted on Twitter, my aunt runs a dog grooming business. So she's a dog groomer. So she'll be one of the first people that I mentioned doggroomers.com to. And then, congratulations. We got one from California, West Coast over here, Edward. Thanks for joining us. And let me see here. You got to love it when Dave T has a dog in his avatar. So there we go. While I do spend thousands of dollars a year on dog grooming, 104 seems like a lot of dough. Seems like a lot of dough. Seems like a lot of biscuits. Dog biscuits? I don't know. Okay, that was a fail. Well, we'll see if I can pull you to my side of the price range here in a little bit. Let me get to this first page of expired domains. I want to make sure that we don't miss out. So what we do as we look through these domains, I look for domains that which you're welcome to shout out. If you see a domain here that you would buy, let me know. And I will either give it a yay or a nay from a development and startup perspective. I'll let you know why I would or would not buy it. Otherwise, I will do this right here. How about this? We got toolsharing.com. I'm going to click on this, pull it up on GoDaddy. We pull it up just to make sure it's even available, because some of the domains will not actually come for auction. They'll be renewed. So toolsharing.com, $216 is the current estimate. And this one is ending in 22 minutes. So I just placed a bid. We're going to miss out on this one. I missed out on this one last week. So not a ton of reason to talk about it right now, except for tool sharing. What a great opportunity for all these, I'm sorry, whoever this is, it's time. I can't let you get away with that, because here I am thinking every day I drive by Arts Tool Rentals. I drive by numerous different rental companies for heavy duty equipment and tools. So tool sharing is a complete reasonable business, because realistically, you're not going to share them. It's not going to be like, hey, neighbor, borrow my pressure washer. What it's going to be is that opportunity to rent other people's tools or rent from established business to businesses. So these rental companies out there that you can rent a jackhammer from or some fancy concrete saw, you can find them on toolsharing.com and rent those tools from those local businesses, or users can rent out their existing tools as well. I love the business. As you can see, I put in a pretty good bid on it. And if you're watching this live, don't bid me up. Don't be a jerk. I usually don't participate that live. I usually don't do bids like that live, but it's ending in 22 minutes, and I want to give a chance at the domain. So let me see here. But realistically, as with all these domains, enter what you're willing to pay. That's realistically what it all comes down to. Is I know that that domain would make sense from business. So that's kind of how it works. We take a domain name, we break it down. Sometimes we'll look at various tools to analyze keywords. We will talk about how you can generate revenue, which hopefully that brief run through did that a little bit. So performance graphics, that's that falls into what we talk about as brandable domain, meaning it's not exactly describing what you're going to experience on that domain. Performance graphics sounds like a brandable for a graphics company, which I avoid brandables. Brandables are like, if we put this in, let's open up SEMrush. So I use SEMrush.com as a keyword tool to help me analyze keywords. So my assumption is performance graphics really doesn't have any keyword volume associated with it. I'm testing my assumption now. So 210 really doesn't have much with it. I consider that very much a brandable. You can see down here, people are looking at performance of graphics cards and things like that. Don't really see much of a need to participate in that domain name. So let's see, Ticket Lounge, Geek. Yeah, I do see that. Is that, I don't know if that, is that the spelling of it? Shoon? Let's see what that, I don't even know what that is. And if I don't know what it is, chances is I'd never bid on it. So this probably, and I guess I should say, this is coming in from Twitter. Daryl, who is a prominent domain investor as well, is mentioning the 5-letter Shoon, I believe is how you would say that, Shoon.com. 390 keyword searches, looking down through here, and it doesn't really, I have no idea. So I have no idea what that is. So that is the kind of domain name that I would run from. I let others buy it. It sounds like a brandable domain, which is actually pretty cool. Like for Daryl or other domain investors out there, that's something you could buy for potentially cheap. It sounds like a real word, maybe is a real word, and then you can sell it off to somebody that wants to call their company that for a few $1,000s. So that's certainly a business that people can do. We specifically concentrate on these domains here. Let me pull up a graphic for you. It's my handwritten graphic if I can find it. Yeah, I don't have it. But realistically, we talk about domain names as the foundation. Domain names are the foundation for business. You can build on that foundation any kind of structure that you want. You can take a domain name and turn it into something amazing with, hard effort. That's how Google can turn a weird word like Google into the giant business that it is. Any domain can be built on, but underneath the ground is where there may be gold, there may be oil. What is the value of that foundation? What is the value of that digital internet real estate? And that's really what we're looking for, is domain names that derive their value from the keywords and industries that they represent. Those are the domains that are ideal for development, domains like doggroomers.com. So, in fact, let me see here. We'll go back to, I'm going to continue to work down through these domains, and we're going to look at dog groomers as far as the keyword, the industry, how we are going to make some money off of that domain name, applying the lessons that we've learned from our other domain name development projects. Create your business sounds fun. Maybe a little fun blog for somebody out there. Business lovers, that's me. I'm a business lover. I love this stuff. But again, more of a blog, more of a, I was just posting on Twitter about, finding like-minded people, because there's no friend matchmakers. Like, how do you find friends other than, normal life? Well, maybe it's on businesslovers.com, because that's what I am. I love business. I love business. I love others who love business. That's hopefully why you're here and why I love you, just for you being here. That's how awesome you are, because you're interested in domains, you're interested in business. You're my peeps. You're my peeps. Unfortunately, you're spread all around the world, including Slovakia today. And I don't get to Slovakia very often. Explore Pakistan if you're interested in travel, possibly somebody over there that wants to set up something to do with Pakistan travel. This is the slow, monotonous burn that is looking through domain names. Let me zoom in a little bit more here. So many of us have tried to write programs and come up with ways that can automate finding great domains. They don't work. I mean, they do work. You can filter out a lot of garbage, but there's a little bit of something about just seeing the domain names. And you'll find that a lot of the bad domains, so if you go to that Twitter screen that I showed you, that was where basically I asked for domains for that I'm interested in buying. People gave me a bunch of garbage domains. Well, those garbage domains, in many cases, it's probably people trying to follow a formula. They were trying to take a word that made sense to them, another word that made sense to them, and put them together. And those two words together have no value. They have no keyword searches. They just sound like they maybe make sense. Or the dreaded, I had somebody that sent in the dreaded middle S. The dreaded middle S. That is when a keyword domain name has a middle S, and you take a domain name that could be amazing, and suddenly it turns into a domain name that's garbage because it has a hidden letter in the middle that does not make sense. So I'm going to go over to SEMrush. We're going to start looking at dog groomers. Let me show you a little bit about why I chose to purchase a domain name. So I'm back over on SEMrush.com. Dog groomer is, type that in, dog groomers, which, as you may be aware, I prefer the plural. When our business model, we aggregate many dog groomers into a database. So I always look for the S. I value the S much more than I do a singular domain name. So that is one of the reasons why dog groomers significantly more important. So I bring you up to this one here. This is a domain overview. We don't look at this very often, but I want to show you this domain. Elliot actually had this domain developed for quite some time. And you'll actually see here how it was increasing in traffic, had a couple thousand people a month visiting this domain name, to the significant work that he did on creating content. And then he took it off so that way he can sell it at the beginning of this year. So I show you this because it does have some domain authority. That means as we develop this domain name, as we put it out there into the public, we can already have some links, some content, something. Basically, there's a little bit of search engine optimization pool coming into this domain name to help us right off the bat. That right there, the fact that it was a developed domain, is part of why I decided to go above 100,000, or why I decided to go above what I was looking to spend, which was, I figured I'd probably get it for 80. I'd be kind of curious to know if Elliot would have sold it for like 80, 86. But instead I went up to the 104 because of this right here, this, domain authority of a 20. It's really not all that great, but it's at the same time better than what you're going to find. Most domains are going to be 0. And what this means, what a domain authority score is it means that this domain already like kind of matters to Google. The links that come to it, what Google knows about it, what SEMrush and other search engine tools are making an estimate of, is that Google believes this domain name has a little bit of authority. It has a little bit of, it used to be called PageRank back in the day, but it has the incoming links. And when it comes to the keywords pet groomers or dog groomers, you are essentially, this domain name matters to that already. It matters to that keyword. So I know I'm saying the same thing over, so I'm going to stop on that. And when you scroll down on here, you can see some of the organic keywords and questions that it used to show up for. We will be able to piggyback some of the work that Elliot had done previously for this domain and jumpstart our development when we launch this in the fall. So that right there is one of the reasons why you should develop your domain names. Develop your domain names right here. And this is a pretty big tip here, peeps. One of the reasons you should develop your domain names is the fact that this domain name was developed previously and had gained a little search engine traction, took my offer, my max offer, which would have probably been around 80K, and it boosted it another $20-some thousand just because it had been developed. Not that it had made money, not that it was a business, nothing else, but it wasn't a landing page or domain name that's going to make me start from scratch and require 16 months of hard work in order for it to gain its traction in the search engines. So develop your domain names. I highly recommend it. I believe that every freaking premium domain name out there should be developed in some way. I just want to go off on this all the time. You have this domain name, you think it's freaking worth $100,000 and you want to sell it for $100,000, yet you freaking treat it like it's trash. You don't bother to put anything on it. You don't do anything custom for it. And you expect somebody else to give you 100K? Please. Anyhow, develop your domains. Let's look at dog groomers from a keyword perspective now. Can you tell what I think? Yeah, that's what I figured. I kick myself, and you know this if you watch this show. I hate myself for the fact that I have so many great domains that are not currently developed. Okay, so here's doggroomers.com. We're looking at the exact match keyword search for this domain name. When I pulled this up, I saw this number here. So 246,000 exact match searches, which if you know what we look at in the show often is this number, as long as it's actually showing up down here, is a pretty important thing, which you can see dog groomers is an exact match keyword. So basically dog groomers is a great keyword match. And then in addition to the 46 exact, you also have these opportunities at these extra thousands and thousands of domain or keywords. So for example, when I develop out dog groomers, I can target best dog groomers near me and local dog groomers near me. These keywords are going to be able to add on 6,000, 3,000 potential keywords that my domain precisely represents. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. It's a pretty important part of why exact match domain names matter. And you might be saying, yeah, but you got to do all the SEO and this and that. Exactly. If you're going to do that work, which you're probably going to need to do it no matter what domain you buy, at least have the top domain name, because anytime somebody's going to link to doggroomers.com, they're going to essentially be using your primary keywords. And that's part of why it already has, basically from an SEO perspective, the domain name matters. So you can see there, 246,000. Now, this is one of the dings against this domain name. One of the things I look at when I look at these domains is it's not enough to say the keyword. you got to look over here at the cost per click. And the cost per click shows you how much people pay to advertise under this keyword. And when I saw this, I was like, $2.53, this is a freaking $500,000 domain name, or this is like worth a fortune. This is what you got to do, peeps. This is how you save yourself from spending a ton of money on domains that you should not. For example, my videosoftware.com domain. When you come in here and type in dog groomers, you do see that most of that there are people paying for ads. There's people paying to be here. Major companies, we love to see these local ones. That's what we like to see. But you also see that they're using grooming quite often in their keywords. So you can't count on kind of all that authority of groomers passing over to you. Just one of the things that I kind of want to mention. You have to do that Google search and actually see the advertisers that are showing up there. It's not enough. Don't trust SEMrush's data. Don't trust Ahref or any of those other tools. You have to check this stuff out yourself, especially if you're talking about a six-figure domain name. But that right there would be much of why this domain name is dinged down. The advertisers don't view the domain name, the keywords of the domain name, as the primary keywords to advertise under. That makes sense. Like, you want to see the advertisers paying for freaking ads that say dog groomers, find dog groomers here. Like, you want your keywords, your domain name to be in all the ads. You want it to be obvious, because that means that domain name is freaking gold. Does that make sense? I hope that is clear. You want your domain name to show up in the ads. They're already paying Google to basically advertise on the keywords of your domain. That's part of that authority, part of that validation. So we have 246,000 here. Let me just type in to the search engine here. How many? I already did this, so I know this answer. Just asking Google, asking our neighborhood friendly Google. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're answering, how many dog groomers are there in the United States? Pretty important question. How many dog groomers are there? If you're going to be out there buying doggroomers.com, how many are there? And they report that there are over 103,000 businesses operating as dog groomers. 103,000 businesses. 103,000 businesses operate under this idea of dog groomers. What do you think? Do you think that domain's worth 104,000? I mean, the fact that it's actually literally like 104,000 dog groomers in the United States is that's kind of funny. That's like $1 per dog groomer. So let's look at some numbers. I'm a number guy. I bought this, I believe, as emotionally as I do a domain. I got caught up in the emotion of it. I was excited about it. As I mentioned, my aunt runs a dog grooming business, and I'm like, oh, I'll be able to go to my aunt Eileen and be like, hey Eileen, like, we actually bought doggroomers.com. Let me put you up on the site. You got all these dreams running in your head. This happens to you, I'm sure, as well. You see these great domains, and you're like, man, I can do all kinds of things with this domain. Got to boil it down to the logic. Got to get logical. So let's look. Yes, exactly. Here we go. That's exactly, like, it's one per that was a coincidence. I did not actually know how many dog groomers there were when I did that search. So yeah, almost exactly 104,000. So what I want to do is I'm going to go over to Skycam, and I want to start to look at some of these numbers that I pulled in, and that is just simply, okay, we spent $104K on this domain. Now, if you had $104,000 that you had in the bank, you would hope that 104,000 would maybe generate some interest. There's a lot of opportunity costs associated with having that money sitting in your bank account. So you could use that money to make money in some way, whether it's just, savings account interest, possibly cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, or, well, same thing, or who knows what else you can invest in. So what would be a good return on investment for $104,000? I like to keep my money safe. I don't like to spend money on things that are going to lose money. So I tend to stick and spend my money on assets, domain names primarily, things that are going to keep or appreciate in value. I highly recommend that you do as well. So $104,000, if you were to put that in a bank account earning a little bit of interest, you're not going to make much. You're going to make maybe even if it's a great interest, you're looking, well, now interest rates are almost nothing. So good luck getting $1,000 a month. So the question is, would you rather have doggroomers.com or $1,000 a month? Because that's realistically what it's versus, right? I can either have $104,000 in my bank account, or I can have doggroomers.com. I can have that $104,000 making $1,000 a month. So let me show you a little bit of what I think we can do as to why Dog Groomers looks a hell of a lot better than $104,000. So what we talk about often on this show is something called the Local Legion 300. Now, the Local Legion 300 is the idea that if you could find one business in each of the top 300 cities in the United States, and there's 300 cities in the United States that have a population of more than 100,000 people. Does that make sense? 300 cities in the United States, actually more than that, have a population of more than 100,000 people. So you can assume that those larger cities are going to have quite a few dog groomers. Based on what we saw, there's going to be a lot of dog groomers in those cities. Local Legion 300 just asks that you be able to find one dog groomer in each of those top 300 cities. Do you think you can do that? Do you think that you could find one per each of those major cities? I think you can. In fact, I believe in you. I know you can do that. So the question then is, can you use doggroomers.com in a simple way and develop a way that dog groomers can bring value to those 300 companies? Like how can you do that? You can brainstorm ways that you can do that. We often use local search. We share that. I like to say we share that great domain name with the local companies that do that service. So that's exactly what we do on towing.com. We use towing.com, and you go and you search, you can find thousands of towing companies that value our domain names, value showing up on towing.com, and we share out that premium.com real estate with those towing companies. So you can do that with doggroomers.com, right? I mean, 104,000 dog groomers out there, and each of them, how many of them are looking for customers? Can you get 300 of them? Can you develop tools, some basic stuff? So I count on it costing, in general, we usually look at about $50,000 in development on a development project. It's no longer that high, but that's what we used to look at. So my point with that is, if you're starting from scratch, you will be able to find somebody that you could pay to develop some basic tools for this domain name. Ultimately, though, learn to program, do it yourself. Like, you can do this. I learned how to program enough to be able to develop my first sites. But do you believe that you can somehow share this domain name with 300 local companies enough that you can maybe charge them $20 a month? $20 a month? You think I could come up with something that I can call up my Aunt Eileen and be like, hey, Eileen, love you, haven't seen you in a while. Pay me $20 a month to be on doggroomers.com. We're going to help you with this. Family discount, but anyhow. Can you do that? Can you picture a version? Can you imagine a version of your reality where you can put together a couple tools that can be worth $20 a month to do based on this asset? So even just like manually typing their name in there has some value, to where somebody in their area looks and they see that company. That has some value. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. You can look around on towing.com, see some of the ways that we help our towing companies do it. I believe in you, though. I think you can come up with a way to develop a tool, develop some different things that allow you to use doggroomers.com to benefit a dog groomer to where they'll share $20 a month for you. That's what I think. So let's go back over to Skycam and let's just kind of look at this. Let's say, okay, maybe let's say you're going to pay $20 a month. You're going to charge $20 a month. Realistically, you're looking at my goodness, $240 a year is that show up on there. Okay, so you're talking $240 a year, and let's say you're not able to do the local Legion. You really you don't have the skills. You're spamming like crazy. You're doing whatever it is you can do, which you can learn some sales skills. Get to 300. Let's just say you get to 10. You get 10 sales, and you keep them for a year, or maybe you have some churn, some different things change. But you're looking at, right from the get-go, $2,400 a year. And that's just with 10 people. Take it up. Let's add a zero. Now you're looking 24,000. So here's what I want to see on this. By show of hands, if you were able to make $24,000 a year, would you spend $104,000 on dog groomers? Like, right? Does $104,000 look? Does it look too expensive still? Like, are you like? Because you can put that money in a bank and maybe make $1,000, $2,000 a year in interest, or you can find 100 companies and 24,000. Well, let's take it out to the local Legion 300. What if you do 300? Now you're looking at $72,000 a year. How many of you would love to make $72,000 a year? I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe you make, but here's the beauty of this. They're paying you monthly. It's you've developed a tool using a premium domain name. This does not require you to have a full-time job of servicing them. You're not providing them service. You're providing them a domain name and you're sharing it with them. Local Legion 300, $20 a month, $240 a year, $72,000. Is that right? $72,000 a month. Or, yeah, a year. $72,000 a year. So let me see some of the comments here, because I want to take this a little bit further. Yeah, hand raised. Yeah, like suddenly 104,000 doesn't look so bad. That's the thing. Here we go. And this Darcy is adding. Only difference is 1K is passive. 20K is this is what I'm. So I agree 100%. The difference between, well, let me just say, like with towing.com, for example, we've built the tools. And realistically, the tools service our customers. We've worked hard once, and now all we have to do is just do a little maintenance. I personally spend very little time on an annual basis on towing.com. And that's not because I have a bunch of employees running around like crazy. We're a small company. I think we're 8 people right now, 8 people running this company. And one does sales, one makes sure that payments and helps people keep cards up to date. Like that's it. Like we're so it is very passive what I'm talking about doing. Start with the idea that you want to do this as a passive income. Do not set yourself up. In this case, I highly recommend do not set yourself up to have to do this as a service provider. You could buy this domain and become a dog groomer, but for the love of goodness, you're trading your time for money. And what we are looking to do here on Domain to Profit is turn a domain name into money, turn a domain name, use that to generate that revenue. So let me just have a little fun here and just say, what if we took it out to 1,000? Towing.com has had over 1,000 featured members for quite some time. I believe we got there somewhat easily. We spent a little time on it. It took us a few years, in fact, to get there. Trying to remember how many years it took us to get to 1,000. But we ended up, getting to 1,000. So 1,000. Now you're talking about practically $250,000 a year. So again, if you were to raise your hand on whether or not $104,000 is way too much for a domain name, I'm kind of curious if you, at the beginning, maybe thought, oh yeah, there's the 104K for doggroomers.com, way too much. Well, now, possibly. I mean, maybe. Did I change your mind? I hope so. Changed my mind. So there we go. Let me see here. Edward asking, great model. You're helping. So in this is exactly it. Edward hits very much on what it is that we're doing. And if you watch this enough, if you watch Domain to Profit, you'll figure out that I am not about the maximizing revenue. That is not you. There's ways that you can use doggroomers.com and build some kind of giant empire that makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. But as Darcy mentioned, you're probably going to work your butt off, and it's not going to be passive. It's not going to be, but then also what you're going to have to do you're going to have to build that business on the backs of my Aunt Eileen, who's out there living her life, grooming dogs, like deriving an income from doing something she loves. You're going to have to reach into her pockets and take the money that she's earning to do that, which we see that with, like a DoorDash or heck, like anything that, real estate agents, even like there's different things that will take a percentage of a sale for providing a service. We do not do that. Everything that we do is based on monthly membership. I highly encourage you to do the same. And basically they pay you a monthly fee to be a member of your site. And it allows you to help a lot of small businesses to where they can generate as much as possible using your authoritative domains. And you're helping a lot of small businesses, which is very much, we're in this to help small business. We're out there taking this great domain, sharing it with small businesses. I consider it very much like the anti-Google. Like Google, you have to go there, you can find any domain, you have to pay a lot of money. So now you have, my poor little, well, I won't say old, my poor Aunt Eileen out there paying Google a bunch of money to get new customers. And now you have big business Google grabbing money from my Aunt Eileen to reach new customers, where in reality, offering something like doggroomers.com will help her generate business, and just for a flat monthly fee. Like now it's no longer just stealing from small businesses. So pretty important piece of what we do. Retention rate on towing.com. It varies. We have like 24, a little bit on sidetrack, but we have 24 companies that have been with us since 2007, like 108 that have been with us. Actually, that number's outdated because it's about 6 months, but we had like 108 that have been with us for more than 10 years. There's churn at the beginning because some people don't know what the heck you're about. They're used to other business models, but those who stick with us, anybody that's went past 90 days, they see what we're doing, they stick with us for a long time. So that's not a specific percentage, but realistically, the percentage doesn't matter. Seems like a great model. Get your money back. Yes, and this is what it comes down to. This is why you can pay it. So let me just say this. Let me kind of offer up this warning a little bit, and that is to all you domain brokers that are looking to sell a domain name. I had many people on my tweet that have said, like, you buy this domain name for like $9 million. The industry is huge. Essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to cash in on all the work that somebody would have to do in order to make that domain name valuable, or to turn, say, doggroomers.com into a business. Don't be that guy. That's like an asshole. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Charge your domain names at a reasonable rate, unless you're going to develop them, then they're all worth $1 million. because that's how I feel about mine. I don't want to sell any of them. They're all worth a fortune. So to kind of re-bring things back around a little bit, as far as doggroomers.com, which was the mystery domain name that we purchased, was doggroomers.com. We purchased for $104,000 after a tweet last week saying I wanted to buy a domain name. I believe that for me specifically, I believe I should have held that money back for other domain names, mostly because I think there's lots of opportunities still out there for the $20,000, the $40,000, the $50,000 domains. However, do I think that doggroomers.com is worth $104,000? Hopefully you can see absolutely. As long as you have a way to turn that domain name into something that generates revenue, which we do, it is 100% worth well over $104,000, and I'm glad to have it. So hopefully you have a domain name out there that you're happy to develop as well. So, and if you're interested in developing domain names, this is the place for you. This is Domain to Profit, where we look at domain names that are either available at auction or possibly already dusty in the back of your portfolio waiting for you to develop them. And we look at business models to do that. So 4 minutes left. I can either continue on. I want to look for more domain names. Let me go out here. I'll share out. As you saw possibly earlier in the broadcast, I bid on toolsharing.com. Quick little bid that I did on it, and I did win that one for under $1,000. Toolsharing.com. Now that I've already spent the money, let's go look at some of the. So here's what I'm looking for with this one. You can see exact volume is going to be garbage. Tool sharing app, that's interesting. So the exact search, but this is the industry I'm going to target with this. Tool rental. This is what I want to go with. Let's see what this one is. 74,000, and then a bunch of great keywords that we can piggyback on. So the question is, in this case, we're kind of building a brand. It's generic, kinda, but we're going to try to pull from this keyword here, which is toolrental.com, toolrentals.com. And there's a lot of money in that industry. A little bit of experience kind of led to that bid, but we can develop something cool, essentially using our existing business model, local search, finding the tool you need, and boom, you find different commercial places you can rent from, as well as possibly individuals. Same business model, different domain name. And so you can see how kind of it stacks on top of each other to where if you invest into those tools, you can now generate more revenue, more passive revenue. So I am on page 2 of domains of the expireddomains.net. And these are all domain names that are expiring this week. With just a couple minutes left, I'm going to kind of run down through these. Feel free to ask questions. And if you're watching this on Restream by chance, feel free to comment. I do check on the comments. If you're asking comments about domains and business, I will be responding. I love this stuff. I do this out of like love and joy. There's certainly no cost for this. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Drew Wash, W-A-S-H, like wash your hands, Drew Wash. Find me there. It's pretty much what all I tweet about is business and domains. VIP drivers, that's a pretty good domain. We'll pull that one up, and for time's sake, we'll kind of try to hit a couple more page downs here. Dynamic site creator. Let's check that one out real quick too. Come on, open. Okay. So VIP drivers, that one, VIP, as you'll probably know, if you've watched other episodes, I like the keyword VIP. It's kind of a brandable slash sets up a little bit of an audience already. People who are looking for an up experience. 5 days left. Well, 6 days left. $12 is the bid. And, things, limo services are big keywords that you can target. But even from an investment standpoint, might be a good domain to do. 6 days left on Dynamic Site Creator. I'm just kind of curious over here. We're going to type this in, and chances are you may not know what the hell a Dynamic Site Creator would be. I'm viewing it as a site built from a database or something like that. and evidently no one ever searches for it, so that domain name is garbage. That is why we don't go with the gut all the time. We look at the tools. And with that, I think we are going to consider it the final domain. I believe that there's lots of value that you could have pulled out of this episode. I hope that you did. I don't want the topic to be, oh, Drew bought some expensive domain name. I want you to be inspired to take that domain name that's in the back of your portfolio or some domain that's mentioned at auction or that you can buy and go out there, develop something great, learn some terrific skills, empower yourself, make your dreams come true, and help small businesses not have to pay Big Brother Google all the time for to get more business and to use these domains. So hopefully it all makes sense. And if not, that means you need to get Googling and learn some more. Join me next week. So if you haven't already, liked this video, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. I will see you next week.